Good evening. This is the Town of Raymond Budget Finance Committee meeting for September, calling the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from August 21st. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right. All in favor? Okay. Next, we have new business, and the first item is consideration of the FY24 year-end expense and revenue summary report for all departments and all months. We had one put in our e-packet, and I met with our new finance director today, Brenda, and she explained to me that she is reconciling the bank statements from June, July, and August. Were there going to be any changes to this year-end report, Brenda?
Honestly, I don't foresee any major adjustments to that year end. Oh, you want me to stand up?
Otherwise, we can't hear it on Zoom or Homeland.
Hello. I'm Brenda. I'm Brenda Fox Howard, Director of Finance, and I'm happy to report I don't really foresee any large adjustment entries for the fiscal year end.
Okay.
So what you see now, barring maybe an interest adjustment of sorts, I don't really see anything terribly large happening.
Okay.
Nothing that would impact your bottom line.
All right, thank you. And I just want to clarify, is the report that was in our e-packet, is that the year-end for 23-24, or is this the start of the fiscal year 24-25?
I will put together your packet.
So it should be 24.
It's the year-end for 23-24?
Yeah. May I come over and see what you have?
Yes.
Just hold on one second. Yes. So you have the right one.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay. Right. And as we discussed this morning, you explained to me that we don't have the August FY25 expense and revenue report ready yet because of the reconciliation that's going on.
Yes, I just joined you folks within the past few weeks, and I already had a pre-scheduled vacation. Not to say like, hello, I'm leaving, but it was a big deal, the trip. It is something that's been planned for quite a while. But yes, so right now I'm wrapping up June. I don't really see many more things I need to do to it. July, I'll jump right in because as soon as the auditors arrive the first week, they're scheduled to arrive on the October 7th. They changed their arrival date because I wasn't going to be here. So they're coming on the 7th, and I know the first two things they're going to want to see is June and July. So my goal is to get them that information as soon as I can that week that they're here. I'm hoping to finish July that week. And then I'll jump into August.
Okay. And welcome aboard, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here. I think that's the only question that we have at
Is it?
this point. Yes.
Okay. If
And
you have any-
unless anybody else has any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on our agenda is consideration of the purchasing policy for the town of Raymond that was adopted in 2018. And concurrent with that is the prior purchasing policy for the town. And I just wanted to go through this and do like a comparison between the two, and noticed that prior to 2018, there were requirements for different price ranges between 1,000 and 3,000, then 3,000 to 10,000, and then purchases over 10,000. And compare that to what the current policy is. Do any of you have any comments about that? Have you looked at that? Or do you, is there any background on why these changed, maybe?
One of the reasons was the limits were fairly low, I remember that. And, but the bigger issue was that we weren't following it very well. Some departments weren't following it, and so the then finance director, Kathy Ricker, advised that it would be, appropriate and reasonable to write a policy that would be congruent with what we were doing, and then see if the Board of Selectmen wanted to approve that, and they did. And so that's how we ended up here. But it's liberalized over this in some ways.
Yes.
Although I think probably the limits in this are too low.
I would agree with that, considering 6 years ago to where we are today and the increase in the cost of
Right.
everything.
The biggest change I would like to see, and which is, I think, very important, is that we seek written bids, from qualified vendors and not sole source.
Like a quote from vendors?
Specifications and quotes. Specifications,
Okay.
Whether it be a request for proposal for administrative services, or if you were going to purchase a major piece of equipment, you'd want to solicit bids. Now, it may not all be the same brand, but plus, because you can write the specs, as you know, to a particular brand, and there may be vendors, multiple vendors that sell that brand, but to give the, the private sector marketplace an opportunity to provide proposals and not just go and say, hey, how much is this, to
Right.
one vendor.
I'm interested in looking at specifications for equipment that we go out and buy, especially things that are over $10,000. I'm looking for, my familiarity is having a set of specifications and then going out for RFPs to 3 different vendors, and then doing a cost comparison between the quotes that are received from the vendors and determining which has the best value. And that's something that I'd like to see that written into our purchasing policy. So I'm interested to know, like, what would be the next steps to revise this purchasing policy?
I would suggest that we request policies from some of the neighboring communities to see how this stacks up.
Okay.
That'd be one place to start if you wanted, but that may be something that the staff would do, not us. I mean, they probably should gather those and analyze them if you think that's appropriate. And
I do.
in light of what this is now and what it was before, I'm not sure either one is what you want, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, I guess the first step would be to see what, best practices are.
Okay, so who would be the person on the staff that would do that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Sue?
Yes.
Can you advise us if we wanted to request the purchasing policies from our neighboring towns to look and see what they have for policies? Who would be the person that would do that?
Well, first, your committee can recommend changes, but you can't change any policies. Only the select board can do that.
Okay, so how do we know what we want to change if we don't have the policies from the other towns?
Well, most of them do post them online. That's how we get them.
Okay, so would that be the budget committee that would go get that online?
If you want to research it, yes.
No, I disagree with that. I think it's a staff function to gather data for the budget committee. The
If we're
budget committee-
requested
the
of
budget
it,
committee-
I was asked, how can you get the data? I'm telling her
Well,
how you
I
get
think
the data.
you're obfuscating a little bit. I think you know that you should provide the data, okay?
So, Madam Chair, they do exist online, and that's where we get them. If you want the staff to look into that, I'll get a staff member to deal with that. Or if you want to think about it and get back to me, that's fine too, so,
I think there's a lot to think about. We're just asking for some data.
yeah.
And I think that, in my opinion, things that are going out to bid, or we're buying either equipment or software or some product that exceeds that 10,000 and we need to get bids, there should be a policy for that, and we do have one. But it's somewhat outdated. 2018 is a long time. I think the numbers need to be refreshed and looked at, and all we're asking for is some data. And I think it's the town's job to provide that to this committee so we can make educated decisions on what we're going to recommend to the selectmen. I'm not trying to cause a rift in any way at all. We're just asking for information. For instance, I know on the flip side, you may be looking at this like we're trying to be overreaching and trying to be over-controlling, and I don't see it that way.
And I'm not seeing it that
Let me
way.
finish, because what I'm going to say is in defense of our, like, Public Works Director that goes out to bid on certain things in an emergency situation where you can't get 3 bids. We might have to get tree cutting done, for instance, after a storm, and you don't have time to get 3 bids. You want to have it cleaned up. So we want to look at that policy and come up with reasonable expectations of staff. And I think I'm part of that staff. So's Nathan, and I don't think that's unreasonable. So I think if we request information, it seems to me, since I've been on this committee, we're having problems getting information. Am I right?
You're right.
And I think that all I'm saying is that when we request something as a committee, that there's a response from the town, that you be responsible and get us that information. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Karen didn't ask me, can you get me this information? She asked how would she go about getting it. I've been working with the Comprehensive Plan Committee, as you have, for, 2 years, going on 3? And they go out and get their own information on the whole. On occasion, they ask the town for stuff, and we've provided it to them when they've asked.
If it was the selectmen asking for this, would you get them the information?
If they asked me for it, if they asked me how do I get it, I would tell them how they would get it. So maybe that's semantics, but I answered the question that was posed to me.
This seems like a bit of a disconnect from the training we had the other day. I don't think it's a good idea for the committee to be reaching out to other towns. And then, of course, you'd reach out to individual staff members. I think that's
I
the
didn't
job of the chief
suggest that.
administrator to do. You know, if you need the Board of Selectmen's approval, then get it.
I didn't suggest that you reach out to other towns. I said they're mostly posted on websites. It's easy to get that information.
Karen,
All right,
can you
well-
request from the town manager to get that information?
Yes, I would like to request, Sue, that you get that information
Okay.
for the committee.
Do you have an idea of which towns you'd like to see?
The towns in our salary survey, the comparable towns.
So what would that be?
Well, there's a lot.
I have a list.
There's a long list.
Okay.
I have a list. So yes, I can. do that.
They're
That's-
geographically located near us, and they're also, you know, many of them are statistically, demographically related, but not all. I mean, for instance, Wyndham, much larger, would be there. Casco, smaller, but, so it's geography and demographics.
Yes.
And so if you're going to make comparisons, I think you use a standard set of towns rather than pick out, cherry-pick towns. Use the ones that we compare for the salary and other things like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Sue.
Teresa, did you have a comment? Okay. All right, and are there any other comments or questions about the purchasing policy? Okay,
No, I think before we do any more discussion, we need that information.
yes,
Once
I
we
think
have
it would be very
We can
helpful.
put it on the next agenda once we receive
Right.
the information.
Right. Okay. Oops. What did I do with my agenda? The agenda with everything else.
Consideration for financing a new dump trucks next.
Okay. Okay, next on our agenda is consideration of financing a new dump truck and excavator. And this was brought up at the Select Board meeting on September 10. And there was quite a bit of discussion about it. And I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the members of the Budget Finance Committee that this had been an issue with the Select Board. And there was quite a bit of discussion about the CIP plan for the dump truck and excavator. And then the financing, exploring the options for the financing of a new dump truck and excavator. So I don't know if any of you missed that or if you're aware of it, but I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. And with that, I went back and looked at the ordinance for the Budget and Finance Committee, and that under Section 5, Item B, we are specifically charged with to discuss with and make recommendations to the Select Board on proposals for specific expenditures. And to study and make recommendations on the general financial position, policies, and practices of the town and its departments. So that's kind of like what's driving me with the policy, the purchasing policy, and why I put this on here. And I would ask Nate, is there anything that you'd like to add to this?
Nothing really. We're not going to, going forward, we were able to negotiate with the low bidder on the truck. It's going to be a single purchase in the fall, about a year from now. So we'll be all set financially. And I discussed it during the February 28th meeting when I asked for the money, that we probably were going to have to finance it. The excavator we're going to push off until spring. We're late enough in the season now, so it doesn't really matter to buy it now or in the spring. Kind of open interest rates go down, but that'll be in this coming budget.
Okay, so you had quotes and you've made a decision?
I did. We jumped on the state bid for the truck. We've done 2 already with the state. They allow us to jump on their bid package. And the equipment, we only have 2 vendors, HP Fairfield and Viking Surveys equipment over in Auburn. And they're both low bid, low price.
What's low bid?
The truck was $141,000 and the equipment was $112,000.
So you bid the chassis separately from the truck, as you would?
Yep.
And so you have a bid summary sheet for the trucks that you looked
I
at? And you have a
piggybacked on
bid summary sheet for the 2 vendors, Viking and HP Fairfield, for the equipment, correct?
Well, the truck is state bid. We grabbed their state bid like we did on the last two trucks, Don. On the 19 and the 21, those were both state.
Can you provide a copy of the state bid specifications, and we can take a look at that?
It'd probably be just easy to give you the spec sheet on the trucks we have, because
Right, but I want to see the state bid documents.
never got them. I just get them from the international dealership. Got the bid for the last
Right, well,
5 years.
the state would have sent out a
I understand.
competitive bid
I
and
understand.
would have selected a vendor. You're saying a truck vendor, so I just want to see the state documents, how they
I'd
went
have to call
about
the state
doing
and get
that and selecting a vendor.
I'd have to call the state and get them. I'd have to call the state. I don't have those.
Okay?
I can call them, see if they'll give them up. I don't know if they will.
They're public documents.
Okay, I'll call them up too, get them.
Thank you.
So just to add to that, we were just talking about policy over 10,000. These are over 10,000, correct?
Yeah, 141,000.
So you were
260.
supposed to get 3 bids.
I got 3 quotes.
So would it be
got
difficult
4, actually.
for us to, we're coming into this, it's something you're going to purchase next year, correct?
The truck's going to be probably purchased the end of this month. It'll be
So-
signed, the contract will be signed the end of the month.
Was that in your budget
Yes.
to spend $600,000?
No.
Well,
300, it's 264,000.
And I thought it was almost 6 for the combination of the
It was.
excavator and the truck.
It was.
So where are we getting the other 300?
In next year's CIP budget.
So
We're not buying the excavator.
how hard would it be, and I'm just trying to, Nate, this committee is to look
We
at
can get the
budget.
information, we just never have
That's
had to
what I would
provide it.
like. I would like to see the 3 bids to see how you made your decision, so that moving forward, this Finance Committee, that's our call to duty.
I have no
So
issue,
I'm
I have
not
no issue
trying
with
to
that
be
at
a-
all, Chris. I just,
want
we've never
the
had.
information,
we-
so I know what it is. I don't have anything in my packet. I don't know if you guys got anything.
Chris, you got to understand, we've never had to do this.
Well,
I've
it's been in
I've-
our policy since 2018. I don't
I've
get it.
never been asked to do this. The last,
You've never been asked to get bids? I asked you to get bids, and you told me you got them orally and recorded them.
correct.
So let's,
And I told you when we bought the last 2 trucks, we bought them under the state bid. And that's where it ended.
and so I'm saying, let's see the state bid documents and see what we,
That's fine.
see what
But
we
what Chris-
are buying.
Yeah, that's fine. But I've
Okay.
just never been asked for it, and we'll get it. And,
Well, to me, that's a lot of money.
oh, I understand that. It's a
And, you
ton
know,
of-
I'm not trying to go after you at all, Nate. I want you to have your equipment, I really do. But I want this committee to be as educated as you are and the town staff, so that we can help the town make these decisions. That's our charge. This committee's an important
understand.
committee, and
I
it seems like it's like pulling teeth to get information. That's
Chris,
all I'm asking.
I'm not, this is the first you've asked for it. I don't have it with me. I will get it to you. It's not a problem.
It's not to me, it's to the
The
committee.
committee, correct.
Can I ask another question? Did we sell the excavator that we've had?
No, no.
So why are we buying another excavator?
Well, for 3, almost 4 years now, we've been talking about upgrading that excavator. It's been in my budget, for 3 of the years.
But back to the original question, why do we need a new one?
Well, this one's got 7,000 hours on it. It needs about $20,000 worth of work. It's not really big enough for what we're doing. We need to step up a little bit in size.
No, that's the thing I was waiting to hear, because we talked about the size of the excavator when we bought it,
Correct.
and you said it was adequate.
It was adequate. That is correct.
Okay.
We've bought bigger dump trucks. It doesn't reach into the back of 3 of the dump trucks we own now. So we're down
And
to
20,000 versus 300.
There's a big difference.
I'm
That's
just
a big
saying.
difference.
If I was working on my car and I needed $2,000 worth of work
I think
compared
this
to
is
buying a new one, I
we've-
might want to fix it. I'm just saying, that's what we need to see.
Well, we'll discuss it when we get into the budget process, because
Perfect.
that's when it's going to be coming up, as it has in the last 3 years.
Well, it just seems like we're blindsided on this one, am I right? It just
I'd
came
say-
along.
Doesn't
You're right.
even know.
What's that?
He just did it, the select board doesn't even know.
About the financing on the truck?
Yeah, he talked to Rolf just today.
The selectmen didn't know?
No. The selectmen knew about the truck.
So
They
Nathan's
didn't know
making
about the
decisions, not the
financing.
But
selectmen?
about finance.
This
Yeah, we're not-
sounds like it's backwards. Normally, you'd come to the Budget Committee first and
I did.
talk about it.
I did. February 28th, we discussed it when I did my presentation. About the dump truck, about the excavator, about possibly financing it.
You don't have adequate capital funds to buy it?
I don't. No, I don't. I got to wait till we roll over into the next fiscal year. That's why we're. talking
So
about
that's the
financing.
whole idea of the capital improvement plan, is that you
I
have the
understand.
funds to buy it.
I understand that.
You
We
do have
find
some
it-
set aside, though, right?
Yes,
We have some
yeah.
set aside?
Yep.
Okay, well, things have changed from February to now with the cost of the truck, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
go up.
quite substantially, so,
We're getting prices around, I think the 21, we paid $197,000 for that truck, and they seem to think we'd be in that ballpark. In my presentation the other night, there was one that was $299, and they went down a little bit from there, and then international, we got on the state bid, and that dropped that price considerably.
okay, but when you talked to us back in February, that was at a high level of what the needs were and what you intended to put in the
Correct.
CIP plan, but now you're actually moving forward and moving out and buying the equipment.
We went through town meeting and it got approved. I don't do anything that we never used to do.
Hi, I'm Teresa Sadek.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing that we're coming from is that what has happened in the past,
Yeah.
maybe future, because I know we're all like starting new, you
I
know,
understand that.
and just doing it in the future. I think
But
that's
we're-
the biggest thing.
We're operating on, everything I've done, I'm doing on what I've done for the last 30 years.
Right.
Unfortunately, Nate, we're beyond everywhere. The old, where we used to do it on a handshake, and you never had to worry about a thing. You got exactly what you did face to face, and that's what you got.
And we do that now. We get what we don't have any issues now.
And in Nate's defense, getting onto a group buy like the state is a money saver for everybody. We buy fire trucks the same way with the Dallas package.
Right, but that's a very competitive process, and they have documentation to back that up.
To support.
And when we buy a fire truck, we have, 8 or 10 vendors.
Yep, no, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's I give them credit for doing it that way, not just going down to.
Right. And that stateway is if they're buying groups, right? So that they can get a bigger discount, right?
I believe the salesman said the state bought 100 and something trucks.
Okay.
And they get the single axle truck and the wheeler. And we were buying a tandem, we call it a wheeler, tandem axle truck. And there's a special spec sheet that they order it from.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to take that spec sheet and add to it. We added horsepower to it, and we added, I think we added cloth seats, heated windshield, and heated mirrors.
I think if that's what you're doing, that's really great,
Yeah.
if that's what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I've
Okay, so
done
I'd just like to
on the
see,
last
all I'm
week.
asking for is the
Yeah.
specification sheet, but if you're buying that gets the question, so because they are very competitive in the way that they do
Correct.
things. So if you're buying a wheeler that is at a state specification, a single axle truck at a state specification, and then you're adding components at a, price certain after the bid, I think that's great, if that's what you're doing.
Yep.
Okay.
You worked fast from last week to this week.
The international pricing wasn't in from last week. The actual end number, he had to research it, and we've had a tough time getting numbers out of people this year. It's just been slow. And he came in, we had the meeting Tuesday night, and it was Wednesday, he called me with a 141, I think it was. Brought the truck total package to 260, which in the world we're in isn't that bad. The 21 was 197, I think it was. And it's the same truck.
Okay, so can you just refresh me on the excavator? When is the,
I'm going to put that through in the budget process through this next year. We will look at purchasing that in the following fiscal year.
okay, so 25, 26 fiscal year?
After, July 1st.
And what would you do with the excavator that you have now?
Trade it.
Trade it? Okay.
And when do you anticipate getting the new excavator?
We'll see how the budget process go, but I would like to see it sometime in the 1st of July.
1st of July of next year?
Correct. That would be the plan.
Okay. So you're going to purchase it on July 1st and then take
I don't
delivery
know.
on
I don't know. We're going to go through the budget process. See
Okay,
if the town wants to finance it, go through town meeting, and if everything goes as we hope, we'll order it or try not. I'd like to find a rental unit that we can grab cheaper. That we've done very well on that. Our loader was a winter rental we bought used. We bought a fair amount of equipment used that way. So I wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't be until after July 1st if we do that.
okay. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, I think we're all set, thank you.
Thank
Okay, I just wanted to update everybody. We had on our last agenda in August a joint workshop with the Select Board, and I did reach out to Rolf and propose some dates. And he responded and declined on the date, so I have sent him a follow-up and proposed a couple more dates. And I have not heard back from him, so I'd like to get that rolling because I think it's important for both of the committees to get together and talk about roles and responsibilities and work together moving forward.
And just a personal request on that. November, December is going to be getting into personal time for me. So
Yes.
I would appreciate if it was before November, if that was
Yes.
possible. That would, because I would like to attend.
On my recent request, I requested in the first week of October. So hopefully we'll be able to get together then.
Excuse me, were we going to do that after a Budget Finance Committee or do the joint committee as a meeting?
It's going to be a Rolf proposed that we do it as a standalone meeting, not have it on either one of the board's
Okay.
nights, just have it independent from that. And the last item on the agenda is consideration for controlling traffic speed as an expense to the town. And I believe that resulted from a conversation with a comprehensive plan committee. So, Sean?
Yes, so part of the new comprehensive plan talks about traffic safety. It's come to the attention of that committee that citizens do not feel safe driving on our roads. Egypt Road, Main Street, Webb's Mills, add whatever road that you live on, all experience excessive speeds and tailgating. At the last comp plan meeting, we discussed how we want this subject to be a priority action item to begin working on immediately. We discussed how lowering the speed limit won't do anything since the higher speeds are already being ignored. We discussed portable radar speed signs that flash at current speeds when a vehicle goes by that we could move around town. Peter Levitt's research, these signs can be leased, so we won't have to buy them. We also discussed hiring a police presence to enforce safer speeds. Thanks to the information that Sue Look gave us and Jackie on our committee, we contract with Cumberland County for our police services, which covers everywhere from at the north, Bridgeton, Harrison, all the way to the east, Harpswell, so a very, very large area. Some of our surrounding towns have hired a designated sheriff deputy to help control their speeds, but the department, from my understanding, is very understaffed. And then just some clarifications about some comments I made at our at that specific workshop, the comprehensive plan workshop. I incorrectly stated that having a police presence could be a good way to make income on ticketed vehicles, but I was incorrect, as it's actually the opposite, where it would be an expense to hire a police presence. And we would not be sharing in those violations. That money actually goes to the state. We only collect income on ticketed vehicles parked on Route 302 from overflow at the Raymond Beach boat launch. So I want to get this committee's thoughts on the subject. What would it take to pursue this as an expense to the town? Is it something we can see with our own eyes, or are we looking to get some hard data collection as evidence? And I just want to ask this committee what your overall experience is with the speeding and the tailgating. Any thoughts?
Well, I have a really odd question because I go on Egypt Road every day, and my vehicle and some like Waze apps say it's 25, yet it says 45.
And new 45 was just put up.
Okay.
New 45
Because I was just like, hold on. So, I mean, that could be one thing too, where, I mean, I hate tailgating, and I see a lot of people who go slow on Egypt Road, and I'm wondering if there is that disconnect, because mine it's updated frequently and it still says 25 in certain sections. And so I didn't know, not that that would help any other road, because there is, I mean, people fly by my house every day. But I just thought that was different. So I just didn't know if if anyone knew.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think in that case, like just from my personal experience, I'm doing over 45, I'm still getting tailgated on that road.
Oh, no, I agree, yeah.
That's, but I understand what you're saying, so maybe some people don't recognize it, but DOT just put up a new 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, but I think it's excessive. It's beyond one person going slow,
Oh my gosh. And the road's narrow.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's the same thing on Main Street. I mean, it's whatever road you live on.
Right.
Put your road in there, and are you getting tailgated?
Mm-hmm.
Is it speed an issue? So yeah, whatever your thoughts are, I'd like to hear them.
I think those type of signs would help. The ones that also collect data and just does not tell you your speed. It collects the data on how fast they're going, how many are going at different speeds. We could use that to decide whether or not we really needed to hire a sheriff. So I think that would be a good interim step to find out what the problem really is. If you're going to discuss a problem, you got to have data. And we all have data, but it's our own personal data as we drive the roads in Raymond.
Right.
Yeah.
We all know that if you drive through Yarmouth, you're going to drive through Yarmouth at 20 miles an hour. Because if you don't, you get a ticket.
Right.
And so I think we need to find out what really is happening on the roads and then go from there.
And I think it will change seasonally, obviously, as well. That's the difficult thing, too. Well, that's true, too.
Our roads are very dark driving through at night, and it's getting dangerous. And so kind of my thoughts were, not my thoughts, but committee thoughts, comprehensive plan committee thoughts were, we could maybe invest in leasing these signs to get the data collection first. Jackie Sawyer, who's on that committee, was saying that the Cumberland Sheriff's Office is severely understaffed. I believe that she was saying that, I think she said Naples hires them. One of those towns, it was Naples, Harrison, but
Standish hires them, Naples hires them, Gray hires them.
okay.
They all have contract
Deputy.
officers. Actually, Standish has 2 now.
So those contracts, does that include installing them?
Well, no,
And-
that's for the sheriff to be,
Okay.
he's a cop in
If we're
town.
putting signs out and collecting data, who puts the signs out? Who collects the data? Who's going to do that? That's what I was asking.
We can borrow that one. County's got 1 left. We can borrow that from county and set it around. That'll collect data for you. We've got one. The data collecting part of it's not working. We got from the state of Maine 2 years ago, I think it was, and we're waiting on the repair on that. As far as purchasing them, when I looked at it, it was 2 or 3 years ago. They were in $12,000 to $15,000 for the cheapest ones, and they'll get up to $30,000 to get all the raw data you want.
So do you think we need more than one?
That depends on what you want to do, or you want to collect the information.
Well, I think if we start staging it around, we'll start collecting data.
Take a while.
And see where it goes.
Yep.
That's something your crew can put out,
Normally it goes through the highway department.
goes through highway, okay, DOT?
No, us. No,
You,
yeah,
okay.
DOT won't do anything with it.
I think data collection wouldn't be a bad thing. Again, we don't need, not to say we don't need the stuff right now, but going into the next budget cycle, if we can kind of show, we wouldn't have to like finance anything, but just leasing them.
You'd probably want to do a year to get you a really better sample of what's going on. The data collection on the one we have will collect time, high speed, low speed, and I think that's it on that one. The more expensive ones will actually take photos, license photos and stuff.
Do the sheriff's ones collect data?
They'll collect high and low
That's
speed
treading
and
in bad
time.
water.
That's right.
And number of incidents,
Correct. Yeah, a number of it. Every time it picks a speed over you, what you register, what you ask it to register for speed, it'll take that data too.
Are you seeing, just from your crews working, are you seeing people disobeying kind of slowing down, or?
A little bit. You've got people will drive where they're comfortable driving, and then you'll get the crazy one just for a number, 20 cars, some idiot will come through at a very alarming rate of speed. We're on Raymond Hill Road this week, and we had a couple come through there. And the problem with that end of town is it's all local. It's local people that live on that road. And you'd have to split the town up a little bit too, because you get down the village, you got commuter traffic going down Main Street. That's pretty much a racetrack. Cape Road in the summertime is sketchy at best. But you get over onto the north side of town, and a lot of that's just locals going to work in the morning.
But the effectiveness of having a Cumberland County Sheriff sitting on the side of the road, take the school district here, when it's 15 and there's somebody sitting down at either District 2 or on the other side, people are slowing down. They do slow down. So it does work. It's just how much do we want to spend to get people to slow down, and where?
I think it would be a good idea, as Nathan suggests, to borrow the Cumberland County sign and use that first, and maybe do some more thinking about it. We've done that before, right?
No, we've never borrowed theirs. Was
it DOT that we borrowed?
Yeah, I think it was the DOT one we borrowed.
Okay, well, so if DOT or the sheriff has it, why don't we borrow it
I agree.
to start?
Hopefully, I was kind of hoping we'd have ours fixed way before now.
Is that the one we got at surplus way back?
No. That was a program that DOT had passing them out. We put it on a trailer and set it all up.
Are you waiting for fixing because of money, or what?
No, just couldn't get the parts, just getting parts. It's a warranty issue, and just getting the parts.
Can we?
It still runs though, right? So we
Yeah,
can
it's
use
just
it and not collect the data from one, just to see if it made a difference.
Flashing.
Yeah, it's just you can only set one speed on it right now. That's all you can do. So we'd have to pick a road that it's at 55, which we don't have in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they would be so excited. They'd be like, "Oh, you're hitting the speed limit. This is great."
There's a programming issue with it.
Got it. Okay.
Well, I think to borrow one that works and get ours fixed, that's the first step, yeah.
Great.
Great idea, Sean.
I appreciate it. It wasn't my idea. It was just the comprehensive plan, really looking forward here. So can we open it up to people on Zoom?
Yes, absolutely.
Can anybody on Zoom or in the audience want to give their thoughts what you are experiencing? Is this a good idea?
Can I just speak up on Zoom? Do you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. This is Vicki Woodbury, 20 Egypt Road. We have a real issue here. And as far as the 45 miles per hour, just a note on that, be careful what you ask for. I sent a note to DOT to see if they'd put a speed sign up for 35, and that's when the 45 sign came up. We have people entering Egypt Road, and it's like they're entering a speedway. As soon as they hit our road, they speed up. And it's so loud, we can't hold the conversation in our driveway or in our lawn. We have to be quiet until they go by. You've got people who've modified their mufflers. You've got big trucks. We've got a truck from Drew Excavating that uses its engine brakes at least twice a day. I also have a picture of them from our security camera on Monday, passing a car in front of our driveway. And if you know where that is, there's a hill right there. There's no way if a car came over the hill that they would have been able to move back over, and someone would have been killed with that big drum truck. We get a lot of people passing right there. It's the no passing zone. So that's really, really dangerous. We have to close our windows at 5 in the morning because the traffic is so loud. So yeah, the speed is just horrible. The vehicles passing, the noise. So I just wanted to give that input.
So it was
Thank you.
it was originally 35 and they brought it up to 45. Can you elaborate?
No, I thought it was 35 at the beginning of the road because there used to be a sign as you're coming from 302 and turning on to Egypt Road. There was a 35 mile per hour sign there. And my understanding was that would, come into Egypt Road for a bit before it went to the Egypt Road speed, but that sign got taken down. So I was assuming it was still 35, but apparently not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So could we make a motion to borrow, might need Nate's help again, it was borrow, where was that specific sign that we could borrow from?
Cumberland County, I can call them, see if they'll loan it to us.
To recommend that.
Yeah, make a motion to recommend that.
Yes.
Well, we don't have the power to tell them to do it.
No, I'll do it. You don't have to, I'll take
I
care
don't know if you need a motion either.
No, I don't need a motion.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
But it's, yeah. So he'll do it.
Okay, awesome.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay. Next, we have public comment. Is there any public comment anyone would like to make? Okay. Budget Finance Committee comment. Any comments?
Good.
Okay. All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor? All right, we are adjourned.